We are back, ladies and gentlemen, Hellcats and Hellhounds, with another video, another live stream, both at the same time. We are live here on Twitch, and today we are talking Evil Dead, which is the best movie? The original, the 2013 remake, or the latest installment, Evil Dead Rise? We're going to answer all that and more, but first, make sure you smash the hell out of that like button. Make sure you follow your Hellmaster on all social media platforms. And comment down below, which is your favorite Evil Dead film? It doesn't just have to be one of the three that we're talking about tonight. It could be any of the Evil Dead film, because I'm going to talk about my love for this franchise. And we're going to dive into each three of these films. And we're going to try to answer the hard question, which is the best film that you should probably go watch tonight after this live stream. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are live on Twitch. Make sure if you're watching the replay, make sure you join us on Twitch. That's where we do all of our live streams from now on. So make sure you follow us on Twitch. If you're watching the replay, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms. But I've already talked about that. So let's first talk about the Evil Dead franchise and my love for said franchise. So let's go back, all the way back. I love doing this. We're going to go back into our time machine, and let's go back to the mid to early 2000s. So the Evil Dead franchise, that's when I was first introduced to this franchise. I first watched the original Evil Dead movie probably when I was about 8 or 9 years old, when I was really diving into horror for the first time. And just something about this franchise, I don't know if it was the practical effects, the use of deadites that, you know, was a fresh take on the zombie genre. It was a combination of all of that, and it made me really appreciate this franchise, and I just fell in love with this franchise. It's one of my favorite franchises in horror history, right? So what made the Evil Dead so special to me? Well, first off, Bruce Campbell, right? If you don't know, now you know. Let's get groovy, right? Bruce Campbell is in my opinion, he's a final dude, right? If we're talking horror and we're talking, you know, finality and, you know, final girls and all that, you know, Bruce Campbell deserves his flowers, in my opinion, because he is a final dude by all aspects. He survived multiple movies of deadites coming after him. So, Bruce Campbell brings something different that we never really had in horror, right? You have horror guys. I mean, you have final girls, but you don't really have, you know, final guys, right? And Bruce Campbell is one of the first final guys in horror. And he just brought something really cool to horror, like comedy. It was witty. It was nutty. It was crazy, right, if you will. So I love Bruce Campbell, and he's one of my main reasons why I got invested into this franchise, right? Hell Queen Jazzy says Andy was the final guy. Facts, but there would not be an Andy if there wasn't I forgot what his name was in the Evil Dead franchise. Ash Williams. There would not be an Andy if there was no Ashy Slashy, right? Shout out Ashy Slashy. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about these three films and figure out which one is the best out of the whole franchise, right? So obviously, you can't go wrong with the original, right? And I kind of want to talk about a little bit more. So the Evil Dead franchise has terrified audiences for more than 40 years of fears. But which film stands as the ultimate entry? Which film can you go to a non-horror fan and be like, hey, go watch this film, and they come back and be like, thank you for telling me to watch this film. Now I'm going to go watch some more horror films, right? In today's video, we leave no stone unturned as we put Evil Dead 1981 versus Evil Dead 2013 versus Evil Dead Rise 2023 against each other across categories like atmosphere, gore, character, story, and legacy. So we do have somewhat of a structure today that we're going to go down. So from Sam Raimi's gritty original to Fede Alvarez's blood-soaked remake and Lee Cronin's terrifying urban horror, we'll analyze each film's strengths and weaknesses to find out which Evil Dead reigns supreme. So let us know in the comments right now, which one do you think is going to reign supreme? I think I have a good idea of which one's going to be the best for me, but We're going to leave it up to you guys to let us know in the comments. So, the Evil Dead franchise is one of the most enduring in horror history, spanning over 4 decades, shifting tones and reinventing itself for the new audiences. Today, we're going to put Evil Dead 1981 versus Evil Dead 2013 and Evil Dead 2023, determine which Evil Dead is truly the best. So, first off, tone and atmosphere. The Evil Dead 1981 tone, raw, chaotic, experimental. Despite some campiness, it leans toward nightmarish terror. So in 1981, let's go back, right? I always think that the original Evil Dead film came out way earlier than it did. I thought it was like a 60s film, damn near a 70s film when it came out, because honestly, it's timeless. It's a timeless horror movie, right? So that's another reason why I do love the tone of it. You can literally watch it at any time in horror history, and you can get down with it. Trap Jordy's in the building. He says, good evening. What's going on, Trap Jordy? The atmosphere of Evil Dead 1981. Shot on a short budget, the grainy film quality, eerie sound design, and relentless pacing create a dreamlike and claustrophobic mood. So again, 1981, guys. And all these practical effects, all of this filming was in 1981. That just goes to show the creativeness of Sam Raimi, right? And if you don't know who Sam Raimi is, go check out the greatest Spider-Man film of all time, with I believe that was the 2001 Spider-Man film, if I'm not mistaken. But again, 1981, you can't go wrong with its atmosphere and strength. It's do-it-yourself spirit, right? Sam Raimi invented camera work and practical effects made the woods feel alive. The cabin becomes a hellish prison. That's another thing, right, that I liked about the 1981 film. It is honestly just so good. It makes the woods feel alive. And I know, for instance, that, you know, when they're going throughout the woods in all of these films besides the 2023 film, that the woods kind of had like a personality to them, and it had no dialogue whatsoever. It kind of had a dialogue at some points, but I just thought that Sam Raimi did a really good job on making the atmosphere like everyone had a story. The cabin, the woods had a story. The woods themselves had a story. The characters had a story. It was just great. Let's see. But let's go to Evil Dead 2013. Let's get this B-roll pulled up for you guys so you guys can have some handy-dandy B-roll. Don't you love it? Don't you love it? Gotta take this down. There we go. All right. So now that you guys can see some of the references we're talking about here. So the Evil Dead 2013, right? The tone, bleak, brutal, and unrelenting. Gone is the comedy. This is a straight up horror film, right? And that is why I absolutely love the 2013 remake. There's no comedy in it whatsoever. It is just balls to the wall, a brutal story, a sad fucking story with characters that in a way, each character you really felt for way more than any of the other films, right? You can kind of talk a lot, about the 2023 Evil Dead Rise, but even still, to me, the 2013 remake is just, you really feel for those characters, right? The atmosphere of it was hyper realistic, gory, and the color palette was desaturated. Rain-soaked forest, it's grimy and heavy. Yes. So in this one, there was a lot of rain. There was a lot of elemental factors to this film compared to the 1981 film and the 2023 film. And again, that Fede Alvarez, he really knocked out the park with almost matching Sam Raimi, right? And making the atmosphere, right? So again, if you can make the woods come alive with, no dialogue, right? You're just goated for that. And again, if you don't know who Fede Alvarez is, he is one of the best producers, directors of all time. He's done Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I believe he did a couple of Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, and he helped produce the new one on Netflix. So Fede Alvarez is up there with Sam Raimi for me as far as producers and creators and writers and all that good stuff. Strength, the oppressive dread. Every frame feels soaked in pain and tension, aiming to horrify without a wink. So again, if we're going story, I'm picking the 2013 film. The 2013 film, hands down, has the best story in any horror film, right? Because it's just so deep and so personal, right? But then we switch over to Evil Dead 2023, which is Evil Dead Rise, right? Now, this one, in my opinion, it's still a really good film, but It was just lackluster at some points, but it's not to spoil anything, right? Because again, we're going to go over all these films and talk about them, right? So Evil Dead Rise 2023, it's a hybrid. There's some seriousness to it, like the 2013 version, but also brings some of the twisted humor back from Sam Raimi's original, right? Let's see. Cody is in the building, executive Hellhound. Cody says, my Evil Dead movie ranking is the 2013 original. Evil Dead ranking 2013 original, Army of Darkness, Evil Dead Rise, Evil Dead 2. Facts. Okay, I wasn't going to do any of the other ones, but Army of Darkness is a really good one. A little too much comedy in it for me, but I still enjoy it. Evil Dead 2, damn near, it's almost, I don't know. The original's really good, but Evil Dead 2, although it gets hated on in the franchise for obvious reasons, I still think it was a really good damn sequel. Let's see. Jazzy says Cody. So let's see. The atmosphere of the Evil Dead Rise 2023. So it has urban horror. So gone is the woods. Now this was kind of where I was like, what are they doing? Like, that's a character. You can't really take the woods away from the Evil Dead, series. Like, that's taking a huge character away. And while it did, in my opinion, hurt the story for 2023's Evil Dead Rise, I'm just, in my opinion, you can't do that, right? So them taking away the woods in change for the apartment building, while again, in some horror fans' eyes, isn't such a huge deal. If you're looking at the 2013 remake and you're looking at the original 1981, the woods was a huge part of the story to me, right? Like I said earlier, it was, a damn near a character in the film. So you taking that away really set the film back. Cody says, Evil Dead 2 is actually the favorite, the original franchise. I'm the odd duck who doesn't like it. Oh, wow. Well, you're not the only one. There's a lot of people, not Evil Dead specifically, but just franchises that believe that the sequel is actually the best of the franchise. I've seen people talk about Halloween 2 and say it's better than the original. Like, I don't know how they do that, but they do it. So what are some strengths of Evil Dead Rise 2023? So it's a refreshing change of scenery. Now, again, to me, I'd much rather have the woods. But for new horror fans who are like, oh, another horror movie and set in the cabin in the woods. Oh, wow, right? I can see why it was refreshing to non-horror fans, right? So for those three, right? For those three, I'm going to take in the order of atmosphere, tone, and the strengths behind it, right? I'm going to go Evil Dead 2013, right, for the scenery and the atmosphere and the tone. I'm going to go Evil Dead 1981 coming in second, and then in third, I'm going to go Evil Dead Rise. Now, let's talk about the story and themes of each film. So, the story, let me get this pulled up here. Okay, so the story for Evil Dead 1981. 5 friends accidentally summon demons in a remote cabin via the Necronomicon, right? So, again, I don't know if Sam Raimi and everyone knew how iconic this series would be or the original film would be. But the Necronomicon has been, a pop cultural reference for many of horror movies, horror TV shows, non-horror movies, non-horror TV shows. It's the Necronomicon. It's iconic, right? The themes of the 1981 is isolation, psychological breakdown, evil as an unstoppable force. So, yeah, Ash Williams basically has to kill all his fucking friends, right? And that's what I love about, the Evil Dead franchise is if you are a main character in the franchise and you have a group of friends, your friends are probably going to die. Point blank period. Sorry. You're probably going to have to kill your friends. They're going to become deadites. That's what's so great about this franchise. It's bare bones, more about shock and experience than the narrative. So, again, 1981, everything that was in the original Evil Dead film was groundbreaking as far as the practical effects, everything that they were doing. So they sacrificed a really deep story for more of, hey, look what we can do with this new technology in horror. And here's a story that's very light. Anyone could, accept the story as, being, brought to them as a horror movie, right? Let's see. Cody says the hallway massacre shot through the peephole is iconic as fuck. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That whole, if we're talking about the Evil Dead Rise 2023, that hallway shot, beautiful. Jazzy says, Hell Queen Jazzy says, I accidentally summoned some demons as it is it ever an accident? I mean, honestly, you really if you handed me the Necronomicon and was like, hey, read this book, I'd be like, I've seen enough horror movies to know we shouldn't do that, right? But going on to Evil Dead 2013, the story is a group of friends brings a heroin addicted woman to detox in a cabin. They accidentally unleash a demonic force. Now, this is where I really got to give kudos to 2013, right? When you have a story between, and I believe it was brother and sister in this one, when you have a story of, you know, these demons that live inside of all of us, right? That's kind of Fede Alvarez's way of showing you, like, the Deadite could be inside of you. It could be inside of me. It could be inside of anybody, right? These demons, these things that haunt us, right? And the story of, you know, the main final girl having to go through all these things just to overcome her addiction, right? It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was one of the best horror, you know, stories that I've ever seen in horror. I just love the story for the Evil Dead 2013 remake. The structure, it was more layered. Mia's battle with possessions parallels drugs withdrawal, making her survival symbolic. So again, the symbolism in 2013 for the story between real life demons and these deadites, and it was beautiful. Honestly, it was beautiful. I loved every second of the story. But then we get to Evil Dead Rise 2023. So the story had a single mother becomes possessed after her son finds a cursed book under their apartment building. So again, you are going back to what made, you know, the 2013 remake and the 2023 version of Evil Dead. What made it different, right? You're tackling these ideas, right? In the 2013 remake, it was drug addiction. In the 2023 Evil Dead Rise, it was more focused on, you know, being a single parent with these children and overcoming, you know, just that, right? And while I didn't really find that story too interesting, I will have to give them credit for at least trying something different, right? The themes are motherhood, family bonds, trauma, and legacy. Again, we're away from the cabin in the woods, so it's more of an urban kind of story that any family could get down with. Everyone's heard of a single mom who works too hard. Shout out Reba, right? But again, for me personally, if we're going through story and theme of these movies, I'm going to go Evil Dead 2013, and then I'm going to go Evil Dead 1981, and then I'm going to go Evil Dead Rise, right? And again, this isn't spoiler alert. I've talked many of times about how I just didn't really get down with Evil Dead 2023. It's not a bad movie. It's just, in my opinion, one of the weaker ones in the franchise. So let's talk about some of the characters and the performances. So in Evil Dead 1981, we have Bruce Campbell as Ash Williams. At this point, we were just introduced to him. So he wasn't a full hero, but he was just going through some shit that no one has ever seen before in cinema. So I thought that was pretty fucking cool, and I did like his performance. Let's see. Cody says, I didn't love that Rise that much, but kudos to it for saying, F them kids, LOL, minus the youngest one. No, yeah, for sure. Like, again, I love when, you know, I don't love, but, you know, kids in horror, it's a hit and miss nowadays, right? And for me, Evil Dead Rise, you know, I enjoyed the kids' performances in that movie. I really don't like kids in horror movies because, again, I've said it many a times, kids aren't that great of showing fear, especially if it's not real fear, right? That comes with, you know, getting better as an actor or actress, right? Let's see. So the other characters in the Evil Dead, the original Evil Dead, I can't even tell you one of them, to be honest. The other characters were thin, but they were effective. Mostly archetypes meant to serve the carnage. So yeah, again, you had your stoners, you had your hippies, you had your good girls, you had all that stuff in the 1981 film. Going to Evil Dead 2013. So on Evil Dead 2013, the standout performance was Jane Levy as Mia. Mia. So such a good performance. One of horror's strongest performances in the 2010s. Vulnerable, feral, and empowered. I'm going to say it on record, right? Jane Levy, you, in my opinion, deserve way more fucking credit for your performance in Evil Dead 2013. definitely up there. I mean, not up there. She's past like the girls nowadays. Mia Goth, your Jenna Ortega's, your Sydney Sweeney's, all of them, right? She's past them in performances for this one fucking movie, right? So the stronger the characters are in the 2013 remake. Each character has a role, though the brother-sister drama feels undercooked. So I did like the brother-sister performance. Now, I don't know what it is about me, but having a brother-sister, final girl and final guy, that's where it's at for horror, right? It's not touched on enough. One of my all-time favorite movies, Jeepers Creepers, had a brother-sister combination kind of set, final girl, final guy kind of thing. So I think it needs to be done more in horror, right? Let's get to Evil Dead Rise 2023 with the characters. So Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, I think she did amazing, right? Her Dead-Eye performance is chilling, charismatic, and physically intense. So what I did like about her performance was you really didn't get much of the Deadites, right? They had their kooky one-liners, their funny one-liners, but in the 2023 Evil Dead Rise, you got to see the mother become a Deadite slowly over time, right? And I thought that was amazing, right? That was a POV that I didn't know I wanted. I didn't know I needed, but I'm glad I got it, right? Cody said, "Mommy's with the maggots now." Exactly, an iconic one-liner from a 2023 film. So if we're going to go on characters, right, I'm going to go 2013. I'm going to go Evil Dead 2023, and then no slate to Bruce Williams, right? But I gotta put them in last place just because he was the only good part of the movie, right? As far as characters, Ash Williams was the only good one. Everyone else in the 1981 film, I can't tell you one character's name. I do know in the 2023 version, the kids did really well. The mom did great. The 2013 remake, the brother-sister bond was really good. The other characters were really good in it. So if we're going characters and performances, that's my listing, right? So here's where I think is the most important, right? And we'll wrap it up with this one right here. Gore and practical effects. So the main reason I watch the Evil Dead franchise is for the gore, right? I'm here for blood, and guts, right? And practical effects, right? I'm a sucker for practical effects, and I don't care if it's 2095. There better be fucking practical effects in an Evil Dead movie, right? Because that's what it's known for. So we're going to go for Evil Dead 1981. Stop motion. They made stop motion look great in that one. Gallons of blood, possessed makeup. The makeup was on point, and the stop motion was on point, right? And again, stop motion, I don't know if you guys know what stop motion is, but it is really fucking hard to do. And the blood that they used in 1981 was not, this was 1981, guys. This wasn't 2025. It was like, oh my God, this should not be on a big screen because there's just so much blood, right? It was groundbreaking for its time, brutal. And again, it was not, it wasn't, people didn't like it because it was so much blood and it looked like a cheap film, right? But for it to be that cheap of a film and to stand the test of time, it's amazing, right? Evil Dead 2013, style legendary gore, no CGI whatsoever, disfigurement, self-mutilation, tongue slicing, nail guns, and chainsaws. It is visceral, stomach churning, and the final blood rain scene is unforgettable. Okay, I mean, we're just going to go ahead and give it to them now, right? Evil Dead 2013 remake, hands down, takes this for practical effects and gore. Okay, take any scene and from that film, from the 2013 remake, it stands above any scene in damn near any horror fucking movie. Any horror movie. Like the tongue slicing scene, the arm cutting off scene, it's just so much. And again, that ending scene, it's raining blood. It's raining red, right? Beautiful. Beautiful. Cody says, did you ever watch the series Ash vs. Evil Dead? I did. So freaking good. Yes, and I'm so pissed off it got fucking canceled. I'm so pissed off at that, dude. Hopefully they bring it back. Bruce Campbell was excellent again, and we got Samara Weaving before she hit it big. Yes. Man, and the other actors, Pedro. I love Pedro. I think that's his name. I don't want to be Bruce Williams here and be racist, but I think Pedro was his name. And the other actress, she was just at the Nashville HorrorCon a couple weeks ago. I forgot her name. It's like Maserati. I don't fucking know, but she's really good too. But again, Evil Dead 2013, practical effects and gore, beautiful. But here's the surprise horse. Evil Dead Rise 2023. High quality practical effects mixed with some digital, cheese grater, scissors, tattoo gun, elevator blood flood. It was amazing, right? Creative and effective though less intense than 2013. So if we're going off practical effects and gore, I'm going to go Evil Dead 2013, Evil Dead 1981 because it was just so groundbreaking, and then Evil Dead 2023, Evil Dead Rise 2023, right? All right, so we'll wrap it up with the director. So Sam Raimi did the 1981 film. Fede Alvarez did the 2013 film, and Lee Corrin did the Evil Dead Rise Fede Alvarez did the 2013 film, and then Lee Corrin did the Evil Dead. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I butchered that again. Evil Dead 2013 remake came out. Oh my God, guys, this is so brutal. I am butchering this. Evil Dead, the remake, came out in 2013. Directed by Fede Alvarez. The Evil Dead Rise came out in 2023, directed by Lee Corrin. There we go. So if we're going off of directors, I'm going to go Evil Dead 2013, the remake, Fede Alvarez. Then I'm going to go 1981 with Sam Raimi, and then Evil Dead Rise 2023 with Lee Corrin. So which film should you watch after going through everything, right? I think you should watch in this order, right? Evil Dead 2013, the remake, because again, you show anybody this film, this is what we're basing off of. If you can show this person this film and they walk away a horror fan, that's the goal. So I feel like if you show them the 2013 remake, they're going to love it. If you show them the 1981 film, they're really going to appreciate it for what it did at the time. And if you watch Evil Dead Rise 2023, people will appreciate it because it's trying something different. So, which film should you watch? Your Hellmaster says, let us know in the comments. So thank you so much to everybody that showed up today for the live stream. Cody, as always, your beautiful soul, did amazing as a moderator. Jazzy, my beautiful wife, thank you so much. Also a moderator for the Hell Zone. If you're watching this replay and you want to join in on the live stream chat, go to our Twitch. The link will be down below or in our bio. If you want to donate to the Hell Zone, these 2 QR codes on the side of the screen will take you to where you can do that. We also have merch. Go check out our merch and check out our co-hosts' videos, basically Brittany and Cody. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for this quick live stream for which is the best of the franchise. And the Evil Dead franchise, that is. Remember, don't go to any cabin in the woods or any apartment buildings. And if you find yourself reading a book that's found in a basement, it just might be the Necronomicon, however you say it. I'm your Hellmaster, Dede, and I will see you Hellcats and Hellhounds in the next one. Peace. Get me the hell.